Hi everyone, welcome to the Style 3D channel. In this video, I will show you how to make a pattern for a baseball glove, how to use pressure to adjust the puffing effect of the glove, and how to use fixed pin to adjust the strap. So let's get started. The focus of this lesson is modifying the pattern for a baseball glove and achieving the sewing effect. First, let's learn about the key tools for this lesson and how to make the strap. The first tool is the fullness_point/line tool. Let's take a detailed look at how to use it together. The function of the fullness_point is to divide the pattern into two parts and rotate one of them. Select the fullness_point tool. Choose the starting point and ending point for the cut. Select which side of the pattern needs to be rotated. During the movement, right-click to input the desired distance/angle. The fullness_line tool performs a fullness operation on one side of the pattern. While keeping the fixed edge length unchanged, it increases the length of the extended edge. Click successively on the starting and ending points of the fixed edge, and then the starting and ending points of the extended edge. Then, control the extension/insertion/shrinkage amount through the popped-up numerical box. The entered value can be negative. The second tool for explanation is the Smooth Curve tool. Click on the Smooth Curve tool. Click on a vertex and drag it to change a sharp angle to a rounded corner. While dragging, right-click to input the numerical value of the rounded corner size. Open the Edit Curve Point tool. On the clean edge or internal line, click directly to insert curve points to adjust the curvature. The Edit Curvature tool. It can change the shape of straight lines and curves by dragging. Now let's work on the strap of the baseball glove. Here, we mainly use the Fix Pin tool. First, fix both sides of the pattern. In the Simulate mode, use the axis to adjust the strap to create a knot. Here, we can trim the remaining length of the strap based on the actual effect. Next is the explanation of making the ball blocking strap. Create a rectangular pattern. Move the pattern near the hole. Set the particle distance to the minimum. Set the extra collision thickness value to 2. Open Strengthen and maximize its value. Use Fix Pin to fix both sides of the pattern. In the Simulate mode, drag the fixed pin using the axis. Here, we mainly use the axis to control the position of the fixed pin. Duplicate the first pair of straps. Place them one by one next to the hole. Place the knot strap made just now next to the hole. Our ball blocking strap is now complete. Now, let's start making the baseball glove officially. First, import the DXF file. Then, import the reference image. Delete the excess patterns. Use the pen tool to draw lines for the glove's fingertip on the pattern. Then, cut them out and delete the excess. Use the Edit Pattern tool to bring these 4 fingers to the same height. Now, use the fullness_point tool to widen the gap between the fingers. Then, adjust the pattern. Use the Edit Curvature Point tool to delete the curvature points. Use the Change Length tool to reduce the gap size for this finger. Now, enlarge the size of the fingertip, keeping it as close to a right angle as possible, making the line straighter. Add a point here and pull it down to create an acute angle. Now, use the Smooth Curve tool to round the sharp angle at the base of the glove pattern. Select all the clean edges at the fingertips of the glove. Then, use the Offset Pattern Outline tool to lengthen the pattern. Finally, use the Add Point tool to add a middle point. Next, repeat the previous steps to adjust the shape of the glove fingers using the Add Point and Generate Smooth Curve tools. Use the Fullness_Point tool to enlarge the finger area. Choose the bottom as the starting point and the fingertip as the end point, trying to divide it evenly. Then, select one side to rotate. Next, import an OBJ model file. Change its color. Move the glove pattern above the model. Click Simulate. Set the glove pattern's particle distance to 10. Then set the pressure to a negative value to make the glove pattern adhere more closely to the model during simulation. Add strengthening. Rotate the glove pattern to check the effect. The effect looks bulky. Smartly convert this model to a trim. Adjust the size of the model. Then, smartly convert the model to an avatar. Resimulate. Adjust the glove pattern shape while simulating. Now, let's start sewing the glove. Use the Lining Created tool to generate inner and outer layers of the pattern. Release the linkages. Set the pressure of the newly generated pattern to 0. Simulate. Remove these messy stitches and sew again. Increase the extra simulation thickness of the pattern to create more space between the patterns. Now, let's adjust the pressure values. Adjust the parameters while simulating to observe the effect. The pressure range is -100 to 100, where a higher value exerts more force inward/outward on the pattern. However, the current result is not satisfactory. Open the fabric editor. Adjust the physical properties in simulation mode. Decrease these parameters. We can clearly see the pattern expanding. Change the sewing mode of the sewing line at the bottom of the glove to turned. Increase the extra rendering thickness. Once satisfied with the result, we can proceed to the next step. Select the lines within the box and check their lengths. Set the curvature to 0. Create a rectangle of equal length as a pressure bar. Perform the same operation for the bottom to create a pressure bar. Select these lines and create internal lines. Turn on realistic fold. Adjust the folding angle while simulating. Move on to the next stage. Use the Lining Created tool to generate a pattern. Unlink it. Select and delete the sewing lines. Then, resew the pattern. Create a circular internal line. Adjust its position in the 2D view while observing the 3D view. Flatten the circle a bit. Next, create the part in the glove that adjusts size. The approach here is to roughly draw the position on the 2D pattern. Use the Arc tool to refine the line. Then, cut out and delete these sections. Here, add a line to each side and stitch them together as Velcro. Since it appears to be facing downwards, adjust the arc to be parallel. Use the Fix Pin tool to secure the edges of the ellipse. Then, create a pressing plate. Next, let's create the separation lines on the top of the glove. Use the Pen tool to draw a line in the middle of the fingers. Use the Edit Curve Point tool to adjust the appearance of this line in the 3D viewport. Now, create the separation line for the webbing between the fingers. Start by placing a point with the Add Point tool and then use the Pen tool to draw the line. First, use the Add Point to Intersection tool to add a point at the intersection. Then, use the Divide Internal Point tool to separate the internal line. Select and delete the unwanted segments. Next, let's create the components. Start with the pressure bars at the finger seams. Measure the length of the lines and generate rectangles of equal length. Then, sew these pressure bars onto the glove. Select the segments one by one to outline them as patterns, and then sew them onto the glove. The next step is to create the thumb guard. Generate a rectangular pattern and move it near the thumb. Adjust the pattern to match the reference image. Once completed, hide and deactivate the pattern. Use the linear measurement tool to measure the dimensions of the upper part of the thumb guard. Create a rectangle with a length slightly smaller than the measured length. Draw a line on the fingers and sew them together. Use the Move to Outside tool with hardening enabled, increase the extra render thickness, and decrease the particle distance. Simulate and adjust the state accordingly. Equidistant editable lines created. Select these internal lines, and use the Intersection Point Created tool to separate them. Then, use the Divide Internal Line tool to cut and delete the lines. Use the Cut and Sew tool to move the inner rectangles out. Generate another identical pattern. Remove linked editing. Change the sewing type to Custom Angle. Then, individually change the sewing type of the small rectangles to turned. Create an effect of bulging on both sides and concaving in the middle. Open the bonding tool. Then, delete the sewing lines on both sides. This shape is complete. Use the Fix Pin tool to secure the pattern, don't let it float. Draw a line here and cut the middle part. During simulation, you'll see the pattern bunching up. Check the sewing lines and sew them again. Once this is done, we'll copy and create the next one. The process is similar, so let's speed it up a bit. Afterward, we'll reveal and sew the initial pattern. We can add some pressure values here to prevent it from penetrating the model. Next, let's work on the perforations. First, cut and sew the ball block pattern from the middle. Then, use the Add Point tool to create a point, followed by using the Pattern Offset tool, extend/vertical. Finally, refer to the reference image to determine how many perforations you want, and create equidistant internal lines. Add points on the internal lines, create circles based on the point distances, and convert them into holes. Leave some space above and below the pattern for the straps. Now, let's speed up the process of making the straps. This is how the straps look. Next, let's enhance the details of the entire glove by adding fabrics and top stitching to our resource library. Currently, we are using a simulated suede fabric from the fabric library. In the color mixer, change it to recolor and use the eyedropper to pick a similar color for adjustment. We can make the side color lighter to create a fringed effect. The fabric material has been added now. Now let's add top stitching. Now our baseball glove is complete. That's it guys, and I hope some of the tips will help your modeling work. If you like what we do, please liking, commenting and sharing this video. Thanks so much for watching and I will see you in next video. Goodbye.